Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Let's start our video with the story of our OP's confrontation with his evil grandmother. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Want to throw your own dishes away? Sure, go ahead. I've never had a great relationship with my grandma. None of my siblings could ever stand her. She was always domineering, but didn't have the guts to do things to our faces, always loudly complaining about us to her friends within obvious hearing distance. When the lease on our house expired and my dad was looking for new accommodation, my grandma showed up and pretty much waved a heavy and stout umbrella in his face, insisting that we moved in with her so she could take care of us. But we'd still have to pay her a generous amount of rent. My sister and I pleaded with my dad not to, but he eventually gave in because she's my mother. We move in, and not even a month in, various altercations start. She complains that we have too much stuff. Consider that we have what's probably twice her stuff and quadruple the people. We stuff everything we can into this tiny storeroom thanks to my dad's packing skills, though she won't touch. But little things start disappearing after. The prized porcelain dish set that my dead mom bought with my dad 2 decades ago, my tiny mementos that I tucked inside my drawer out of sight, and then we found them in the bin. No amount of pleading, arguing, convincing could get her to stop. The only things she wouldn't throw away were the things she couldn't physically lift by herself, and obviously nobody would help her. Guess why she left the storeroom stuff alone? We get pretty sick of each other. At this point, we've already packed all our prized tableware away and resolved to use only the cheap stuff that our previous landlord had given to us. My grandma proudly loads in her mishmash assortment of random metal plates and plastic bowls. It looks like a freaking military cookhouse set. We've long learned to keep our mouths shut and not argue and just quietly retrieve anything she dumps into the bin and hope she doesn't find it again. That way, we at least don't have to listen to her screaming about the house after every single time we poke holes in her logic. Literally, her comeback every single time is, translated to English, karma will bite you in the butt. Karma will bite you in the butt. Wait until you grow up and your children don't listen to you. If you're so unhappy, why don't you move out? The sooner the better. It hadn't even been 2 months since she threatened my dad to make us move in. Various little things happened, but basically, she started to find fault with all our habits, like not washing the dishes within 5 minutes of eating. Sometimes when you have a large meal, you just feel like leaning back in your chair and relaxing for a while, you know? Oh no, not for dear old Grandma. Everything has to be cleared immediately. Grandma, if you don't wash them immediately, I'll throw them all away. She doesn't even bother to tell anybody. No, can you go do the dishes now? We just walk in to do the dishes later and find them in the dustbin. We pick them out and wash them, and we're all pretty miffed. If we ignored her request a dozen times and she does this, sure, we deserve such treatment. But it was the first time, and everything she did was pretty much out of sight. She would have thrown it away if we hadn't looked for the missing dishes. My brother hatches a plan. We pick out her favorite dishes, not the most expensive ones, just the ones that she uses the most often, and some of the new set that she bought. The next meal is cooked entirely with these tableware, down to every utensil and plate. We finish eating, dutifully put everything into the sink without washing them, then we go back to the dining table, kick back and relax. 15 minutes later, we return to the kitchen and find my grandma staring at the pile of dishes. She looks at us, she looks at the dishes. She looks at us, she picks up all the dishes and dumps them into the bin. My brother giggles. Go ahead, it's all your dishes. You like to throw stuff, we'll let you throw stuff. But don't touch our crap. Half an hour later, she slinks back into the kitchen and quietly picks them all out of the trash. Guess her stuff isn't as expendable as ours. And our second story. Abusive stepdad stopped stalking us after he got the blame for something I actually did. When I was about 8 years old, my mom married her second husband. The guy was an a-hole. They were married for about 1.5 years. He punched her in the face on Christmas because she let my brother and I spend the holiday with my cousins instead of his side of the family. She was hospitalized and needed stitches. They were always fighting and he would go psycho over the stupidest things. Thankfully, she had the good sense to leave him, but he didn't let go of her or us very easily. He stalked us for 3 years. He'd drive by our new house constantly. He would call me when my mother went to the store and try to get my brother and I to tell him what store she was at. He would scream at me through the phone and even came over a few times. He tried violently kicking our door in while I hid in the living room with my mom. There's so much more, but I'll spare you for the sake of time. My mother eventually got a restraining order, but he never complied. By the time we called the police, he was long gone. It was crazy that he kept this up for 3 years. Why did it stop at 3 years, you ask? Well, cue my revenge. It started out as a mistake on my part and wasn't originally intended to get him in trouble, but it ended up that way and I did nothing to stop it. I was a forgetful kid. I always forgot my house keys and would end up stuck outside until my older brother got home from school. It sucked. So one day I come home from school and discover that, yet again, I forgot my house key. I didn't want to sit and wait 2 hours for my brother. This time I go to a window that looks like it can easily be forced open. I pressed hard into it and applied pressure inwards and towards the back. I have no idea how I did it, but I broke the window. It wasn't shattered, but a big piece of glass broke across the pane and a big triangle came out. I panicked and left it alone and just waited for my brother. I didn't tell him or my mom that I broke the window because I knew I'd be grounded for a month. Well, of course, my mom noticed. I didn't fess up. Next thing I know, the police are at my house. I was freaking out. They asked her if she had any enemies. She brought up her ex. The police immediately put him as the #1 suspect. I didn't speak up because I knew I'd get in huge trouble, and this had gone way farther than I ever anticipated. I also knew he deserved it, and maybe it would deter him from continuing to stalk us. The police went to his house and harassed him for a bit. I guess he was pretty bewildered and insisted it wasn't him. Well, of course it wasn't. The police scared him but were unable to prosecute because there was obviously no evidence. He was pretty shaken up, but then again, so were we when he tried kicking in our door. He went crazy and was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about. It wasn't me." The police said they'd be keeping an eye on him and roughed him up. He never drove by again, at least that we saw. All the craziness stopped and we could breathe again. I told my mom 20 years after the fact. She was so shocked. We shared a good laugh. I think you may be the only person to break a window and have the parent truthfully say, "Thank you for breaking that window. You helped us out a lot." And our last story. We are on a holiday. So we have a little cabin in a vacation place by the ocean. It's pretty there and lots of families like to come. We invite friends and their kids to come, for free of course, but we don't rent our place out. So last summer, all these kids started showing up wanting to play with our girls, 11 and 13, kid stuff. Okay, new friends and all that, sure. They stayed, played, ate everything in sight. Then this kid, Tinish, starts showing up every day. Doesn't talk except to tell us what food he wants. Grunt, Coke? Grunt, Oreos? My kids don't want him around because he wrecks their crap and throws stuff at them. Then on day 4, woman we don't know comes with him and says she can pick him up at 1 o'clock today and, oh, you should know he can't eat sulfites. Then she starts to walk away. Stunned me. Hi, I'm RedWheel and you are? Choosy beggar. Oh, we're renting a place down the road. Me. And you are? CB. Little Crap's mom. Me. Yes, Little Crap doesn't really seem to enjoy himself here, and we're going away for the day with the kids on our friend's boat, so... Okay, great. He can just hang out here at your place then. No, we're not going to be here, and there's an ocean right there. This is not safe. Look, the person I'm renting from told me you'd be happy to have our kid over. We're paying a lot of money for this vacation, and my boyfriend and I are walking down to local beer fest a few miles away. I barely know the person you're renting from, and we're on vacation too, with our own kids, and we want to do stuff with them. CB, moving in, threateningly loud, 6'6" plus 5'8" me. Are you saying I don't love my kid? You rich people are all the same. You don't understand what it's like. We deserve time. Me. Dude, my dad and I built this place 30 years ago. Nobody was here. The land cost next to nothing. We're not starving and are very lucky, but rich is one thing we're not. Your kid is not welcome here anymore, and you need to go. Little Crap had sensed that bad was going to happen and ran into my cabin to hide from his scary cow-butted mother. CB marches into our place only to be met by my wife, like me, not tall and very kind-looking, never swears, always avoids confrontation whenever possible, who slams a finger into her chest and tells her with no pauses between words to get the F out of my effing house. I've had enough of your effing kid, and the pair of you can F off. Little Crap runs out. CB runs after him. Little Crap, come back. We don't ever see them again. Oldest daughter says, all right, Mom. I'm way beyond proud and kiss my wife messily in front of the girls. Turns out the lady that rented the place out also owns several others and had mentioned our place as a benefit of renting her place. We'd been providing free babysitting for her tenants while she charged them $2,000 a week for a small cabin. The only time I met her was when she came over to tell me I couldn't build a picnic table with a handsaw and hammer because her renters had paid her good money and shouldn't have to listen to all that noise. I don't know where she finds these renters, but they party all night and most have free-range kids and big unleashed dogs with no respect for anything. Sweet revenge. The muffler came off our generator and I built a large woodshed as close to the nearest rental cabin as I could, where I enjoy using my oldest and loudest chainsaw very early in the morning following any parties that verge on epic. We posted our babysitting rates on the path to our place, no takers, and the kids now get to choose who they spend time with. Some of these renters are actually nice, and those people get free beer and borrow our kayaks and kids' toys, but CBs get nothing. Choosing beggars like these are the reason why nice people like OP stop doing nice things, even for nice people, as the CBs don't come with an effing label on their forehead that reads, I am a choosing beggar. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.